This is Danny Flexon here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Sam Jones, half, of course, of S-Jam Boxing. And we're here at the Emirates Stadium, as you can see in the background. Sam, we know Joe is a big Arsenal fan, or rather we've just found out, or I have. What about you? You're Derby County, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a Derby County fan, yes. But we've come here today as a bit of a tag-along. No, it's the day. I think Queensbury planned this for Joe from just before the start of the fight. So yeah, it's a really good day today.
Now, a question I asked Joe earlier, but it applies more to you, is that with him being in a WBO mandatory position, but maybe being a year or more away from a world title shot.
I don't think it's that long, Danny. No, I think we'll push for it a lot sooner than that. But listen, worst case scenario may be, but we'll try and push for it a lot sooner than that.
How difficult a balance is it to keep Joe motivated and against the right opposition to keep him sharp, but at the same time make sure he keeps winning ahead of a world title shot?
It's fights like this, to be honest with you, Danny. Like if I would have got somebody to come that's Joe's just going to bowl over in a round, then you can't really get up for that, can you? And there's no real point in it. But this kind of keeps Joe sharp because this is a proper fight. Everybody in the trade knows this is a proper fight on Saturday. So yeah, if Joe's got to be switched on, and look, he's got everything to lose now, hasn't he? And Takam's got everything to gain. The stakes have kind of got a lot higher for this weekend.
There seems to have developed a small kind of war of words between yourself and Carlos Takam. Is that intentional on your behalf? Do you like getting under the skin of Joe's opponents?
No, not really. I've just said what the case is. I've seen all of his spars. I think all but 2 of his spars, watched all of them in full. And that's just a fact.
How has this happened? Has he just made it publicly available, or have you? Who's your mole?
Well, I can't tell you about who the mole is, can I, Danny? But all I know is I've had the spars sent to me in full, HD.
HD 4K.
Yeah.
What have you made of them?
He looks good. He looks good. We know what Takam's like. Do you know what I mean? He's game. He's strong. He's rugged. He's rough, and yeah, there's the danger of his head because he does go in with his head. You could see him doing that in sparring with his sparring partners. He tried to jab his way in, but he's kind of doing the Mike Tyson kind of thing, going side to side. But he does go in. He does lead with his head, which is obviously a worry. But Joe's got a remedy for that.
What is that remedy?
I can't tell you that, Dan. You'll find out on Saturday.
It's just an interview of you not telling me stuff.
Catch counter for the headbutt. 1-2 headbutt, catch counter.
Throw a few elbows in, bit of capoeira.
100%.
Carlos Takam's obviously incredibly motivated. We saw against Derek Chisora, he brings the fight all night before Chisora found a bit of a miracle punch, really, to get rid of him. Is that what you're expecting this time around? Does he only know how to box one way?
Joe doesn't need a miracle punch to get rid of Carlos Takam. I think Carlos Takam's style it's not like Jennings was. Like Joe with Joe, maybe in a couple of rounds, Joe kind of find it kind of awkward to pick that. I mean, I don't know anybody with a brain cell that thought Jennings beat Joe. So Joe won the fight, but it was a hard night's work. Do you know what I mean? Jennings is a top-class fighter, but Takam's small, like similar kind of height to, I think he's smaller than quite a bit smaller than Jennings, but he's a lot easier to hit. Takam, but he's a decent boxer, but he's not going to change his style for now, for one fight for Joe. He's going to come forward and he's going to try and make it rough and tough, but Joe's going to have a lot of weight advantage on him and size advantage. And I think it's going to play into Joe's hands. But it's going to be a great fight for the fans. It really is.
Now, Joe said earlier he expects Joshua to beat Usyk, and then he expects Joshua to vacate. Yeah. Is that what you expect? And if so, you're the manager. Who's next in the WBO rankings that would likely fight Joe for the vacant WBO title?
I don't believe Joshua will vacate. I think what will happen then is, what we'd like to see happen is, as a fan, I'm sure you and everyone else wants to see, you want to see Joshua. Listen, I like Usyk. He's a legend of the sport, isn't he? What he's done in the cruiserweight division, but I think he's a little bit too small for heavyweight. I think Joshua's going to go through him, to be honest with you. I think Joshua's going to dispose of him. I think Tyson Fury will go on to beat Wilder in October. Then surely, hope to God for the boxing fans, we see the undisputed fight. There's no reason for Joshua to vacate the WBO straight away. I think if there's a rematch, which there possibly will be with the Fury, if they eventually do fight each other, then they could vacate the belt. But we'll see what happens. And Joe wants to fight the best. And listen, if Joe wants to win the world heavyweight title first and foremost, but he also wants to fight the best for it. So let's see what happens.
Before we move on, I just want to ask, did you wear those trainers intentionally because you knew you were coming to Arsenal's ground? Because they are very similar to the Arsenal colours.
Well, no, they're more white, aren't they, than that? No, not to be honest, Danny, no. They're just something I found out the old wardrobe.
Right. I'm giving you too much credit there, obviously. just want to talk about your stable generally. During the last kind of 6 months, we've seen a lot of management companies take on a lot more fighters, promotional companies as well. You've still kept yours pretty boutique. Just tell us why that is and how you've managed to do it, because you must get approaches.
Because you can't do, say, things like this. Like, we've just signed Darius and we're hoping to do a good collaboration deal for him soon. You can't really give your time to fighters if you sign 20, 30 fighters. And also, listen, Danny, like what I've said before, we're very fortunate. We get a lot of fighters approach us, but there's some fighters that might look at me specifically, maybe not Adam, but me specifically, think, oh, I don't want to go near him, annoying bastard. Do you know what I mean? I went, yeah, they might do. But there's some fighters I think, oh, I'd love to work with him, which I'm really grateful for. But I'm not for everybody, but I am for some people. We've got we're privileged enough to be able to choose who we work with, and we pick our stable very, very carefully.
Do you ever... Mike's just about to fly away, yeah. Do you ever think about that, though, that you might put people off your personality? It's not something I've ever thought, but you've just said it yourself. Do you ever think, get Adam in front of the camera a bit more?
Adam kind of chooses not to do it. I just get asked to be on it. People think, oh, Sam loves the camera. But it's just, I don't know, you want to interview me, so why would I say no to talking about something I love? I love what I do, Danny. So you want to talk to me about who's going to beat who and who's going to do it. I love that. I can talk about boxing all day long. So if somebody's not like to my personality, they don't have to speak to me, do they? Fuck them.
Your fighters do.
my fighters, like, well, I hope they do. Well, I'm sure they do. But yeah, that's it. You're not going to be for everyone. Like, I'd rather be someone's shot of whiskey than everyone's cup of tea. Nicely
put. Bet you've said that before. Lerone, it sounds practiced. Lerone Richards, when are we going to next see him out?
Listen, there's I think the team are in talks with Matchroom at the moment to make a big fight for Lerone. Nothing's done yet, but Lerone's put on a career best performance in his last fight. He was outstanding. What I think everyone would agree was completely outstanding in his last fight, and he wants to keep progressing. So hopefully there's some big news for Lerone very, very soon.
And update us on the rest of the stable, or whoever you've got stuff to update about. We've got Cody, we've got Lisa.
We've agreed in principle to do a promotional deal for Lisa. That's going to be announced hopefully this week, if not early part of next week. So that's going to get Lisa back up and running, because she's had a hard time, if I'm honest. She was kind of not forced to retire, but she had some time out. She gave birth to a lovely little boy, and now she's coming back again. But she doesn't want to hang about. She wants to get involved in world titles very, very quickly. So some news for Lisa Whiteside. Cody's was actually scheduled to fight not long ago. People don't really know about it, but he suffered an injury setback. He's still recovering from that, so looking to get Cody out very, very soon. Florian Marco, unfortunately, he rolled his ankle in sparring, so that's setting back up. It's not too serious. He's actually started training again now, light training. So Eddie's looking to reschedule the Pro-Dam fight for September. Where are we? Guido, he's going to fight in October. He came back with an impressive win so he's fighting again in October. Who else have we got here, Danny? We've got Solomon Dakers. He's going to be back out in October. We've got Johnny Fisher fighting Danny Whitaker at Fight Camp. We've got
John Hedges.
John Hedges, we're hoping to get him out on September the 4th. If not, I think it's going to be a couple of weeks after, but in and around that time, John Hedges will be back out in September.
Great stuff, Sam Jones.
It's everyone, isn't it? I'm sure it is.
It's everyone I can think of. I'm allowed to forget some.
Darius Fulgham, obviously, if not probably the biggest signing we've ever made. Huge signing. #1 ranked in America, heavyweight. Going to box at light heavyweight as a pro. Golden Gloves winner in 2018. You know yourself from that. Being a boxing fan, you can't win that if you're no good. National champion. And yeah, he's a promotional deal going to be announced very, very soon.
Great stuff, Sam Jones. Really appreciate it.